H&F Farms podcast. Right now, it is me. I'm Waylon Hobbs. I have my business partner slash friend on. Say hello.
Afternoon.
That is Cole Fletcher. Um, you can probably tell from Hobbs and Fletcher why it's called H&F Farms. We met. Just to give y'all a little backstory. We met in correct me if I'm wrong, 2017.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly how we met.
We was you and Mr. Tommy brought us a piece of irrigation pipe on y'all's truck. And Mr. Tommy and Mr. Wayne Hobbs and Daddy were over there hooking the pipe up and all that. Well, we met playing the sound pop at my house.
So y'all can tell we started out playing in the sandbox, and now we're getting to play with big tractors.
Yep.
And
turning stuff and fixing it.
Yeah, tearing up stuff and fixing it, and nothing like running international tractors by any means. I mean, they'd be broke every day. You couldn't keep them things running.
And if you need one, they'll get you out of a top.
I mean, Ford's got you better than International.
And International's got you better than Ford.
No. Alright, moving on. So, yeah, we met in 2017. And I went to their house, back and forth many times. And then 2020, I think, is when COVID started, and that's when we sort of split apart again, or split apart because sickness and all that. So then about August of this year, or 2022.
Yeah.
We was working on the Amada 6-row combine that I showed in my Pig and Peanuts video. That we was working on that combine. Me and Granddaddy was, Wayne Hobbs. We was working on it, and all of a sudden, their truck and tool trailer pulled in, and I was thinking, that ain't Cole, is it? But sure enough, he got out of the truck, and I was like, well, I think we started something again. So from that point on to now, we've been talking, nightly or every other night, whatever. But yeah, so that's just a little backstory. Roughly, the Hobbs Farms homestead that we live on, or Granddaddy, Grandma, and Uncle Greg, they live on about 300 acres. Alright, well, 100 acres, or about 110 acres, is actually arable. So, with that, you're looking at approximately, 110. So, every year, it's 57 acres of cotton, 53 acres of peanuts. It just works out like that every year. Because we have a 4-acre field that always gets planted in cotton. So instead of it being 53 and 53, which would be 106, you have 4 acres of cotton added onto that, so it'd be 57, 53. And don't ask me how it ended up like that. I don't know. It just so happens that it ended up like that. Cole's going to tell you more about the Fletcher Farms homestead.
We have about, we own about 200 acres of land around here. A lot of it is woods. There's just different, I guess you would call it branches of, there's up there at the top, which I call the backfield, the backwoods, is most of that's just pine trees. And then there's the backfield. Back yonder is a small little dryland field that we got back there. And then out here in front of our house is about a 35-acre irrigated field. We have a 11-tower Pierce pivot on it, and it irrigates 35 acres. And you move over to the other side of the road, and there's 45 to 50 acres. About, I would say, 35 to 40 acres of that the pivot gets it, and there's a couple of dryland corners. And then we got several different smaller pastures. And we just farm.
So, with all that, when we start H&F Farms, LLC, or whatever we'll call it, incorporated, whatever, we're going to be running, what did we figure out the other day, 180 acres? 200 acres, something like that?
No, it wasn't 200, it would be 160 to 180, somewhere along there.
So, I mean, we're going to be probably my farm and then his farm. It'll be split up, obviously. We live probably, 5 miles from each other?
Probably.
Maybe 5 miles. It might be more than that, might be less. I don't really know. So, anyways, so we're gonna be probably farming a lot more cotton and peanuts, probably. Depending on whatever, but Cole's actually wanting to start a YouTube channel, but he just don't have the equipment that's needed, and
by the time we start farming, I'll be ready.
yeah, by the time we start farming full time, because see, we're both in high school right at the moment. He's homeschooled, I'm in public school, freshman, and so yeah, we're still in school, so we help as much as we can, just like the videos. I mean, sometimes I'll send the GoPro with Daddy, or sometimes, I mean, I'll just record what I'm doing with Granddaddy. I have a very interesting surprise coming during planting season, peanut planting season, that is. A very pleasant surprise. Cole already knows what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to say that on here. Yeah, this is going to be like a podcast. My plans is to put it with a time-lapse of farm sim, being we didn't talk during that thing, so we're going to put the audio recording and we're going to mix it in with the video, and then we're going to do it like that. Maybe it'll work. So, alright, that's going to be the intro. That's a little bit about us. That's a little bit about our plan with this. Now, if people don't like it, they can shove it.
I agree.
And, I mean, if people like it, we'll make more. I don't think this will be as regular as videos. But as soon as if we do start doing these more regular, then we will start putting them on a actual podcasting app, like iTunes or Spotify or Stitcher or whatever. But yeah, with that being said, let's get more into the topic. Alright, Cole. Today's topic. Alright, hold up a minute, Cole. If y'all have ever listened to any podcast, and y'all have listened to Field Rose podcast, this is going to be sort of like theirs, not really. For the intro, we might do, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, back to you, Cole. This is going to be 3 worst Or no, 3 first, 3 worst.
Of
Alright. Make sure y'all can hear Cole alright. Alright. So, Cole, what was the first tractor that you drove?
International 674.
Gosh. Anyways. Alright, my first one was probably the 4230 John Deere that we have. And it's currently probably my favorite tractor besides the 4960, but I don't run the 4960 much, except for picking peanuts. So, moving on. What was the first farm job, like harrowing or planting or picking, or like what's the first farm job you done? And what tractor you was running, or what a piece of equipment you was running?
I was running a bush hog, a rhino, 4-row, cotton stalk shredder mower, mowing our smallest field by far. It's planted in Bermuda grass, so the T85 Bermuda grass, I was mowing it because our other mower broke down. I'm not going to tell you too much about who did that.
Cool.
I turned the wheel, and I the brake on the tractor, turned around. I looked behind me, and the other half of the mower was laying on the ground. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I didn't know Cole had done that, and I was over there at their house. I said, why don't y'all use that mower for cutting hay? And he said, well...
half of it's gone.
And then he told me the whole story, and I was like, I can see why you didn't do it. Alright, the last first. Alright, what was your first, I don't know how to word this, mess up or breakdown, or like, what was the first, like, you were the cause of the breakdown? Was it the mower or what?
Probably busting the hydraulic line and dumping hydraulic oil a ways down the field. The steering line that goes, this is a John Deere 2950 that I'm talking about. Hydraulic line that runs from the pump in the rear end that runs to the hydraulic pump in the front. The lines are rubbing together, and of course they're made of, I don't really know what they're made out of, but it wasn't made like it should have been. There should have been some tape or something put between it. It's not tape, hay baler belt or tire tube to keep it from rubbing. Well, they rub together, and they rubbed a hole in it, so I'm just going out through there, and all of a sudden I lose the PTO, lose the steering. This whole tractor starts shaking because the pump's running out of oil. So the first thing I do is shut the tractor off before something bad happens. I get out, and all the hydraulic oil is busted, pouring out on the ground, and sprayed up in the right rear tire rim. It's just all over the back of the tractor. Now, that's probably the biggest mess up that I've made, and it was the first.
I didn't even mention my first farm job I done. Mine was probably harrowing with our 4230 with our 12-foot disc or harrow. And then my first probably mess up per se would probably be, I'm trying to think. The only thing that I can really remember, other than this cotton season, I was running the 4230 on the bull buggy, and if you ask Granddaddy about it, he's going to say it was because I backed up in some cotton stalks. Well, when we got it back fixed, I was running straight, going forwards, and it broke. But the hydraulic line going from the back to the front got pulled out, sort of like what Cole said, but I noticed it before he did, I reckon, because Granddaddy had just picked out probably 2 rounds and I was dumping him. Well, then I wasn't far from the end of the field, so I just backed up to the end of the field and was going to go back there where we had the module builder set up. Well, then I noticed. The only other thing besides that would be when I still had the Ford 5000 in gear. I don't even think I've told Cole about this, but I had the Ford 5000 that we have in gear, and I engaged the brake. Like, I set the parking brake, had my foot on the clutch, everything. I mean, it was stopped. I set the brake, let off the clutch, and it just started digging it. It was shaking. I mean, I was like, oh my goodness. Then I took it out of gear. And I don't know why I did. I mean, I don't know why it happened, but it just happened. I guess I was in a rush or something, you know. Yeah. That's probably my two mess ups. I don't really think I don't really think there's that many more. I mean, there's any more, really. Anyways, moving on. Your 3 worst, Cole. Alright. What's the worst tractor brand, in your opinion?
Brand.
Huh?
Tractor, the worst tractor brand?
Yeah.
Fendt.
Alright, in my opinion, and we're talking about like big row crop tractors. We're not talking about little garden tractors or anything like that. In my opinion, it'd probably have to be AGCO. Because AGCO, that covers Fendt, Challenger, all of them like that. Runner up would probably New Holland or International. I don't know, New Holland, Ford, which was before New Holland, they were pretty good.
They were decent, but I'd put International ahead of them. She put John Deere in the lead, International second, and Ford in third.
Well, when I say International, I might should specify. Case International is what I don't like. Now, the International, like, just say the 766. We have a 766 International. Good tractor. It hasn't ran most of its life that I've been alive. Typical International. But, I mean, really, International ain't that bad of a tractor. Case International, it's pretty bad.
It's pretty good.
International, yeah, they're fine. I'd still put a Ford over International, but I'd probably put Case International over New Holland. So I'd probably have to say AGCO is the worst brand.
Same.
Alright, next. I already have 2 more questions rigged up, or lined up, but I already know what one of the answers is, but I'll ask you this other one. What is the worst peanut combine, in your opinion? Because, see, you have Amatis, KMC, Colombo, Roanoke, Lilliston,
Bush
Bush
Hog,
Hog, sneak peek.
KMC.
I already said KMC.
Alright.
I think that's it.
Hustler.
Yeah, Hustler. So, out of them, what would be the worst one?
Hustler, I think. No, Long.
Yeah, you got Long too.
Long and Hustler. Because they will not pick. They won't do a good job picking the high yielding peanuts that we have around here nowadays. They spit a bunch out the back. They leave wads of hay, straw, whatever you want to call it, on the ground, it's hard to hair in or anything like that. I say, Long and Hustler are putting it the two worst. Now, back in the day, they were one of the top peanut pickers out there. But with the high yielding varieties we have nowadays, they're just no match for them.
Yeah. Now, I'd probably have to say, in my worst, it be out of, you know Uncle Jay, right?
Yeah.
He had a 2-row Hustler. I think it might have been a Roanoke. What colors was Hustler? What colors were Hustler?
Same as Long.
What?
That brownish
Oh yeah, it wasn't it then. What color? What peanut combine is yellow and black? That's all I remember about it. The basket was black and the main combine was like yellow.
That ain't no Long picker. That ain't no Hustler.
I want to say it was a Roanoke.
I don't know hardly anything about Roanoke.
Let me look it up. Roanoke. Not Virginia. Peanut combine. We ain't talking about no traveling. This is the H&F Farms podcast, not travel. Yeah, it was Roanoke. He might have had a 4-row then. Did Roanoke make 4-rows? They didn't make 4-rows.
I don't think so.
Well, the tractor he pulled it with, I don't think could handle a 4-row. Because he pulled it with a little Kubota.
That little Kubota wouldn't have handled a 4-row.
Yeah, I don't think it was. Anyways, so I'd probably put Roanoke, Hustler, or Long, because they just ain't never seemed like they was good pickers, like Cole said. In today's vines, today's yields, today's, all around today's environment, they don't pick what they flip. Now, up until about, this year was the first year we didn't run a high cap. Because this year we ran that 6-row. The year before we ran our 4-row and a 2-row. The year before that we ran 4-row and a 2-row. And the year before that is when we ran 2 2-rows. KMC and a Lilliston high cap. Alright. Next question. And I already know the answer that you're going to say. So I might change it up a bit.
Okay.
What is the worst pivot dealer? Out of Valley, Zamatic, Rinky, Pierce, I guess. I don't even think they're in business no more. Pierce, TNL. What are some other ones?
I think you've covered about all of them around here, at least.
Yeah. So, what would you say was the top worst one out of all of them?
TL.
I would say TNL too. We have 2 pivots on the Hobbs Farms homestead, and one of them's an 8 or 9 tower, and one of them's a 7 or 8 tower. They're about the same size for both of them, and I don't remember the exact ratings on them. I want to say they're between 6 and 9 towers. I think they're bigger than 6. But anyways, I'd have to say Pierce is right up there with Valley.
They're old and they last a long time.
I mean, ours is 10 plus years. We've had them on the farm for 12 years. Because we put ours up in 2011. Or 2010 or 11. So between 12 and 13 years. And Cole, they have a Pierce. But I will say, Valley is overall best. In my opinion. I'm guessing same way with Cole.
Valley is the best.
Because our Pierce pivots have Valley alignments on them. And they have Valley tower boxes and all that. So I'd say TNL's worst. They just, it don't seem like they have the most workability, maybe.
Oh, that's the word I would use.
Alright, that's gonna end the first three worst. Moving on to the turbo booster. So what this is gonna be, I'm gonna ask him 5 different questions. He's gonna have to rapid answer, like on the spot. It's gonna be things like, just for example, bottled water or faucet water. That's gonna be an example. He has to answer just like that.
What I prefer.
Yeah, what would you prefer?
Okay.
Okay. First question. Amatis or KMC?
Modest.
I knew that. John Deere International?
John Deere.
Knew that. Ford or Chevy?
Chevy.
Knew that. Conventional till or strip till?
Conventional too.
I basically knew that one too. Peanuts or cotton?
Cotton.
Planting or harvesting?
Harvesting.
Cotton picker, peanut picker?
Cotton picker.
Would you rather a basket cotton picker or a roll cotton picker?
Basket cotton picker.
I knew that.
I don't have any luck in the new roll pickers. It's because they're real expensive.
And they're dumb.
Dumb. Yeah, that's the next
Moving on. That was our turbo booster questions. I don't even know really how many questions I asked him. It was probably 5 to 10 questions. Might have been 5. I don't know. Next segment. Okay. Would you rather? Are you familiar with this?
What?
Would you rather do this or that? Like, would you rather like, would you rather peanuts or cotton?
Oh.
But it's not like that. But it's like, you put into, like, I ask you scenarios.
I'm not very familiar with that, but I'll catch on to it.
We'll go with it. Alright. So, Cole. Would you rather... This is going to be a tough one. Would you rather... Alright. Would you rather go to sleep and would you rather go to sleep and pitch black dark and there's a army of soldiers comes into your room and you don't know when, but they're all going to shoot airsoft BBs at you. It ain't going to kill you, but it's going to hurt a good bit. Or, would you rather, and this is going to sound really dumb.
I can already tell.
Would you rather... And I know this, you might have heard this one on the Field Rose podcast. I pulled this one from it. Would you rather lay in the middle of the field in a pivot track, turn a pivot on 5% walk, and let it sit there. Like, you have to get 15 feet away from the tower. And just let it walk right over your legs.
I'll get shot by airsoft babies.
And let it walk over one leg, and then it stops right on top of the leg, and then it walks a little bit, walks on the other one, and then it goes, and then the other tire walks over one, goes down, walks over the other, and goes on.
Then your mask flaps the ground.
Yeah. You said you'd rather the airsoft BBs?
Yeah, but where in the freaking world did you get them questions from?
I just put them off the top of my head.
I,
To be honest with you, anybody watching, I know nobody's watching right at the moment, but if anybody's watching in the near future, I don't have any type of note cards. No type of note cards. I'm just going, I listened to podcasts today, I listened to them times past, but I really didn't have no note cards where I was like, oh yeah, I'm fitting to do this, blah, 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 and this is the itinerary. No, I didn't do that. Alright, another scenario. And this is going to be probably real simple. Would you rather go to public school and have to sit in class with a bunch of idiots? Yes, I said idiots. Or would you rather homeschool, which you are now, and, you get to wake up every morning and not even have to put on any clothes really. You can wear your pajamas, go downstairs, eat a nice home-cooked breakfast, and do your schoolwork, and then go right to farm? Like, who wouldn't want to do that? But what would you rather?
Ask you why in the world did you make me sound like that's what I do every day?
That ain't what Cole does every day. Cole gets up at the butt crack of dawn, wakes up, has to put on his uniform to a T, go downstairs, eat slop for breakfast, have to sit through torture and torture and torture. It just keeps coming at him. And then he has to go right in and watch everybody farm around him and just sit there and cry himself to sleep because he didn't get to farm. He didn't even get to step outside.
What'd you say?
I said you don't even get to step outside during the day.
Thank you for intimidating me, because that's not at all what happens. Not even remotely close to what happens here every day.
So what would you rather, Cole?
What I'm doing right now.
So he'd rather homeschool. Which I'm going to be honest with you, I'd rather homeschool too. Hold up a minute, Cole. Alright, we're back. Never mind. So anyways. Yeah. So I'd rather homeschool. Cole would rather homeschool. I think we'd all rather homeschool. Anyways. Alright, guys. That's gonna, pretty much, I think... I guess... I do have something I wanted to tell you, and take this with a grain of salt. I have merch ideas. I want y'all to let me and Cole know down in the comments if you would like to see merch. Like, if I made merch, would you buy it? And I know that's a loaded question because you don't know what the merch is going to look like. But basically, on the left pocket, or the left side of the t-shirt, it's going to say, depending on how I do it, it might have it right across the chest. It just depends. And y'all might see them in near videos to come. I don't know. Cole's, I might, I'm thinking about getting me some work shirts, and then I'm probably going to get Cole and some of his family some. Might get Daddy one. whatever. Granddaddy, I might get one. I don't think my mom and my sister want one. But for Kohl's, I might put H&F Farms on it. It just depends. But, and it's basically going to be like a uniform, basically. I can put it where I can put your name on it. Or I can just do it where it just says Hobbs Farms on it and be done with it. It's just whatever you want. So comment down in the comments what you would. I mean, like, would you want? I mean, would you be willing to pay for that, or I mean, would you be like, no? And it depends. Right now, it ought to be $15 to $20 a shirt. I mean, it's gonna be real cheap. It ain't gonna be like all these other YouTubers. Not down talking on any YouTubers, but it ain't gonna be $40 a daggum shirt. That's just outrageous for a daggum shirt. Alright. Well, with that being said, guys, we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.